धन्यवाद तवरचंद जी. Honorable Leader of the House, Sri Tawarchand Gehlot ji, respected Leader of the Opposition, Sri Mallikarjun Kharge ji, Minister of Parliament Affairs, Sri Prahlad Joshi, and also Sri Muralidharan, Honorable Leaders of various parties and groups in the House, and Honorable Members, Honorable Deputy Chairman, we are concluding the 253rd session of Rajya Sabha today. This is the second session of Parliament which has been held under the shadow of pandemic, in which all COVID-related protocols and standard operating procedures evolved during the last monsoon session to conduct the session in a safe environment have been followed. I am happy to note that the cooperation of all members, we were able to conduct the business of the House smoothly. Honorable members, as Chairman of this August House, I would like to give a brief account of the performance of this House during this session. As you know, this budget session of Parliament is being adjourned sine die ahead of its schedule, as against total 33 sittings scheduled from January 29th to April 8th. We are concluding after having 23 sittings. The budget session provided opportunities to members of this House to deliberate on the issues concerning economic growth and recovery, especially in the post-COVID phase. Honorable members, this House functioned for a total of 104 hours and 23 minutes against the total scheduled time of 116 hours and 31 minutes during these 23 sittings. This, in effect, means the productivity of this House, including both the parts of this budget session, has been about 90%, while the productivity of the first part of the session has been 99.6%. Productivity of the second part of the session that began on March 8th comes to about 85%. A total of 21 hours and 26 minutes of the House has been lost due to disruptions during this session. Comforting, however, is the fact that as against this loss, the House sat beyond the scheduled time for about 14 hours and 28 minutes to complete the legislative and other business. I am happy to inform you that high productivity witnessed during the last 4 sessions since June 2019, 249th, 250, 251st, and 252nd sessions have continued in this session as well. As a result, overall productivity of the last 4 sessions and this session comes to about 94%. I appeal to all to maintain this positive momentum in the functioning of the House during this year as well as in future also. We need to strive towards achieving 100% productivity, knowing that we are working under extraordinary circumstances. Honorable members, I am happy to note that this August House saw a passionate and quality debate and discussions on the motion of thanks to the President's address and the Union Budget 2021-22. The discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address took place on 4 days with a duration of 15 hours and 37 minutes, with 50 members taking part in it. The Union Budget was discussed for 10 hours and 43 minutes on 3 days, with 45 members participating in it. It may be noted that 0 hour on 4th and 5th February, question hour on 3rd and 4th and 5th February, and the private members' business on 5th February were dispensed with to give more time for discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address. Honorable members, as regards this legislative output, this House has passed 19 bills, including consideration and return of the appropriation bill and the finance bill. 34 hours and 4 minutes time has been spent on the discussion of the government bills, which comes about 42% of the total functioning of the time of this House spent on legislative business. As many as 199 members participated in the discussion on the bills. Some of the important bills, you are all aware: Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill, Arbitration Conciliation Amendment Bill, Major Ports Amendment Bill, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Bill, National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Profession Bill, National Institute of Food and Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill, the Insurance Amendment Bill, the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill, the Constitution Scheduled Caste Amendment Bill, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill, and the National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development Bill 2021, etc. Honorable members, the working of three important ministries, namely Jal Shakti, Railways and Tourism, has been discussed for 11 hours and 13 minutes, which comes to about 11% of the total functional time of the House. 61 members participated in the discussions on the functioning of these ministries. Members raised a total of 273 issues of urgent public importance through 163 zero-hour submissions, 110 special mentions. The zero-hour submissions and special mentions made during the session covered a wide range of important issues. As regards the question, a total of 113 starred questions have been orally answered, which comes to 34% of the total 329 starred questions listed. 11 hours and 50 minutes have been spent on seeking answers from the government through these starred questions. Ministers also made statements on important issues such as avalanche in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand, the present situation in the eastern Ladakh, recent developments pertaining to the welfare of Indians abroad, NRIs and PIOs in the COVID situation, India's vaccine Maitri initiative, and a vehicle scrapping policy. Honorable members, during the recess period, 8 department-related parliamentary standing committees of the Rajya Sabha examined demands for grants and led ministries and departments for the financial year 2021-22 and presented 28 reports in this regard. Besides, these committees presented 21 action-taken reports and 6 reports on subjects taken up by them and 2 reports on bills referred to them. I compliment the chairmen and also members of 8 department-related parliamentary standing committees of Rajya Sabha for their efforts towards improving the functioning of the committees. However, there are some areas of concern, such as the less attendance of members and the duration of the meetings, which need further improvements. I urge all the party leaders of respective parties to sensitize their members to take the committee's work seriously, given their importance and relevance in our parliamentary system, ensuring executive accountability on behalf of the Parliament. I propose to communicate to the leaders about the attendance of their members, each members, so that they can take stock of the situation, advise the honorable members in this regard. Honorable members, orientation program for the newly elected and nominated members was organized by Rajya Sabha Secretariat on 13th and 14th March to familiarize them with rules and procedures governing the functioning of the Parliament, particularly Rajya Sabha. I am happy to note there were the encouraging response members. Out of 71 members, 34 members, including Honorable Minister for External Affairs Sri Jaishankarji, attended this program. I am told that the members were highly appreciative of the contents and conduct of the program. I compliment the Secretary General and his officers for successfully organizing the program. Honorable members, as I have mentioned in the House, earlier I mentioned that we are entering the 75th year of our independence. And to mark this historic occasion, the government have planned to celebrate it as Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav, with several events spread across the country. Well, this special occasion provides all of us, citizens of the country, an opportunity to cherish the values and ideals of our freedom fighters stood for and helped our country to gain freedom from the colonial rule. It also calls for serious introspection of the functioning of our legislatures and their members. People expect meaningful and purposeful debates and discussions, high standards of conduct from their elected representatives. Members of the Parliament have to work diligently and effectively to meet the expectations of the people. As House of Elders, Rajya Sabha has to lead by example. Our responsibilities have become more onerous, especially in the context of these pandemic challenges, which calls for determined and corrective efforts by all stakeholders. Therefore, we should be guided by the mantra of debate, discuss and decide, and we proceed towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and not disrupt. This is the only way forward in these challenging times. This will go a long way sustaining the trust and confidence of the people in our parliamentary institutions and in deepening the democratic culture of our country. Honorable members, we have been able to contain the spread of the pandemic in the country with the coordinated efforts of all concerned, with center and states working as Team India. It's a matter of pride for all of us that India is playing an important role in vaccination drive of many countries with supply of millions of doses of vaccine to several countries. There is, however, surge in the COVID-19 cases in some of the states, which is a cause of concern for all of us. I had also made an appeal to the members of parliament. I once again reiterate the same. Please guide the people to follow the guidelines issued by the central and state governments for containing the spread of virus. As people's representatives, members of parliament are expected to be available for consultation and guidance required by the people in the states and the constituencies. As the vaccination process is underway, I also appeal to all of you who are eligible to take the vaccine and also see to it that eligible people volunteer to take this vaccine. Even though the vaccines are being administered, we should not lower our guard against the virus. The Prime Minister has aptly said, Dawa hai bhi, kadai bhi, reminding that the people to guard against the complacency and continue to follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior. Honorable members, the prevailing pandemic has forced all of us to adopt a novel methods to adapt to this new situation with greater use of digital resources. This time, as you know, our digital copies of the budget documents and economic survey were also made available to all concerned. Members continue to submit their notices for various parliament devices through the e-notice portal to avoid physical handling of the papers and personal contact with the parliamentary staff. Parliamentary papers of the session were also made available on members' login portal for the convenience of the members. I am happy to note that the members have used the facility of e-notice to submit notice for various parliament devices, as 9,862 notices were received from them through this portal. I urge to all of you to use this online facility to the maximum possible extent so that we could adjust to this new normal. I take this opportunity to thank the Leader of the House, Leader of the Opposition, Ministers of Parliamentary Affairs, leaders of various political parties and groups, and also honourable members for their cooperation extended by them in the overall functioning of the House. The credit for better functioning of the House do not go to the chairman. It goes to all the members. With your cooperation only, this is made possible. So you have a onerous responsibility to see that all of us maintain standards and set example to others. In the end, I offer my special thanks to the Deputy Chairman, Sri Harivamsiji, and members of the panel of Vice Chairman for the seamless conduct of the proceedings of the House. I place on record my appreciation to the Secretary General and his team for hard-working and committed officers, and also the staff of the Parliamentary Security Forces for their untiring efforts. My warmest greetings to all of you on the occasion of Ugadi, marking the beginning of the Telugu New Year. In fact, this is actually a festival time when many people across the country usher in the New Year. A few days ago, Parsi brothers welcomed the New Year, Navroz. Sindhi brothers and sisters will be shortly welcoming the New Year as Chetti Chand, while the people of the two Telugu states, Andhra and Telangana, call it Ugadi, and in our neighboring Karnataka, it is called as Ugadi. The people of Maharashtra celebrate it as Gudi Padwa, and in Tamil Nadu, it is observed as Puthandu, which is falling on 14th, while our Malayali sisters and brothers celebrate the occasion as Vishu in Kerala, and the Punjab always they have the festival of Vaishakhi. In Odisha, it is called as Pana Sanskriti, Polila Varshika, Bangla Navavarsha, ushers in the New Year in West Bengal. Bohag Bihu marks the beginning of the New Year in Assam. The names may differ, but the festive spirit suffused with joy, hope and togetherness is the same. Ensuring this, we also have the Good Friday that is also coming, and also Ram Navami, the coming days, Mahavir Jayanti, Eid al-Fitr and Buddha Purnima also. I also take this opportunity to compliment both print and electronic media, including Sunset TV, for their sustained interest in the proceedings of the House and their transmission to the people. My best wishes to all of you once again. I have sent greetings today because we will not be here on 14th April and also onwards. That's why greetings have been sent to your respective places in your respective mother tongue. I wish you all the best. सबको शुभकामनाएं. Thank you. Jai Hind. The House stands adjourned. Cyanide. होली का सबको होली का शुभकामनाएं.